I'm kind of like the behind the scenes person, make sure everything goes smoothly for you guys. And what we're going to be talking today is about knowing yourself. And hopefully I'm going to be able to provide some useful tools that you can use in the future and just throughout your life. So Aristotle said that knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And I have found that to be incredibly true throughout my life. Understanding who you are and looking at yourself very clearly is something that a lot of people don't do. And because of that, people don't grow, people don't change, people don't become wise. So I believe that in looking at yourself, you need to clearly understand your strengths, you need to understand your weaknesses, you need to understand how you learn, you need to understand why you interact with people the way you do. So when I was in my early 20s, I discovered a book called Please Understand Me, and it's the Myers-Briggs personality test. And to that point, I'd have to say that I was very frustrated by myself because my personality was just really confusing to me, and it was confusing to other people. And when I discovered this book and found that I was an INFJ, which is one of the most rare personality types, it suddenly like so much made sense. And so I really studied this a lot and found a lot of just wisdom and in understanding who I was. It helped me understand other people. So it looks like, Fallon, you're an INFJ as well? So these are the 3 tests we're going to just cover briefly. I'm going to share with you the Myers-Briggs, the Enneagram, and the Harvard VARK. And you'll have to take them on your own time if you want to, because it would take a long time to do it now. So the Myers-Briggs, some people say it's like a horoscope, but it's not. Of course, there are things in each of these personalities that will not be you because you're unique. You've grown up, you're in your own setting, you've had your own experiences. So even though we're able to kind of break out into personalities, you're still going to be unique. So the Myers-Briggs breaks out into 4 personality groupings. So the first, we have introversion and extroversion. So for people who are introverts, they just need a lot of time to themselves to refresh, to get filled up. It doesn't mean they're shy. And a lot of introverts look like extroverts because they like people. It doesn't mean you don't like people. It just means you need that time to yourself. Whereas an extrovert, they get their energy from people, social situations. They love that, love the party. So looking at that, drop in the chat what you think you are, if you're an introvert or an extrovert. Lots of introverts. There's an extrovert. Extrovert, we've got an ambivert. So for me, I am a strong introvert. I need a lot of time to myself. But when I'm in a group with people, I appear very extroverted and very social. So it does surprise people if they find out that I am, in fact, an introvert because I love people. I enjoy them, but only for so long. And then I want them to go away. So got a couple more extroverts there. Okay, so under the information section, you have 2 different types. You have intuitive people and you have sensing people. And all of these, you can fall somewhere in the middle as well. So intuitive people focus on possibilities. They see the big picture. They enjoy ideas and theoretical things. I was a philosophy major, and that really appealed to that sense of just like theoretical knowledge for me, as I'm strong in. Sensors are realists, and they are really connected to their senses. They're very grounded people in that they live in the moment. They're very focused on the moment. So if you were to take a guess, if you are more intuitive or more sensing, drop that in the chat too. A lot of ins. Mm-hmm. And if it's tricky for you, it's probable that you fall more towards the middle. Got some sensing people. Yeah. Okay, so as far as decision making goes, we also fall into two categories. We've got the thinking people and the feeling people. Now, if you're a thinker, it does not mean that you don't feel. If you're a feeler, it doesn't mean that you don't think. It just means that you have a particular go-to style. Like for me, I definitely lean towards feelings, but I have learned not to rely so much on those feelings and to exercise logic and judgment instead. So for thinkers, they tend to be naturally logical and make decisions analytically. They're very level-headed, whereas feelers are often more artistic. They're described as empathetic and warm. Just the feeling that I appreciate that. So if you want to drop in the chat, thinking, feeling. Feeling. So for all you feelers out there, I think one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is to learn to recognize your feelings and to learn to judge those feelings, whether they're accurate or they're just whatever's going on inside of you. It took a long time for me to be able to sort through my feelings because I feel so deeply. And instead of just responding out of feeling, I've learned to look at those feelings, say, what is accurate, what is inaccurate, what is just nonsense, and instead try to use some logic, try to think through things. And for thinkers, I would encourage you to put empathy into what you're doing and not just base everything on logic. So as far as organization goes, there are two: judging and perceiving. So judging people, they like rules, they like deadlines. If they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. Perceiving people don't like to give commitments. I don't want to have my day planned out for me. Deadlines are negotiable. I kind of fall in the middle of these two. I would say, I actually, as I've gotten older, I've started leaning more towards P, just because I've learned to let go of some of that control in my life. So drop in the chat, judging, thinking, oh, sorry, judging, perceiving. Judging, another INFJ. Yeah. So judgers, learn to be flexible. And you perceivers, understand that you make judging people crazy when you ignore deadlines. Perceiving, okay. So out of these four come the four base personalities. These are, although the rest of your personality, we'll go into that in just a minute, can change over the course of your life, it is very rare to have that base personality change. And those base personalities are in F and in T. And then we have SJ and SP. So the NT people are very theoretical. They think, and they just, those definitely like your engineers. Then you have your NFs, and those are people tend to be very unique. They search for meaning. They tend to understand the world around them. They get people in a way that other people don't. And then you have the SJ. So SJs are like the guardians of society. They're very conservative. I should say they tend to be conservative. They value tradition. They value organization. They like things to be just, the way they should be. And then we have SPs, and those are like the fly by the seat of your pants people. They just like to do, they like to be, they like to feel. You often have they're kind of like the entertainers of the group. So those are the base traits that will never change for you. But out of those, then we have so here are the NTs, and we have the 4 different styles of NT, 4 different styles of NFs, SJs, and they kind of mix those around, didn't they? STs, SFs. So I'll just kind of let you look at these for a second. And then if you haven't taken the test, drop in the chat if you have taken the test as well. Let me know what of these personalities looks most like you. It's not always easy to do without taking the test. And here's just a chart to show the different types and their prevalence in society. So SJs tend to be a huge part. They're just a large part of society, which is good because it would crumble if I was in charge. All the way down to the INFJ, who's just 1.6% of the female population. Okay, who's an INFJ? As I said, as I've grown, I definitely lean more towards the P now. So I'm kind of an INFJ, INFP. I fall somewhere in between there. Got an ENFJ, who's the protagonist, charismatic, inspiring, probably a natural leader. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and move on. So these are just some references for you. Stacy will be presenting, posting all of these things on the secure website. So she'll send you this link, and then you have embedded links here. So this is a really great website, 16 personalities. I'm gonna go to my profile. So to get the full profile, you do have to pay for it. I can't remember how much it is. But it is just a really cool test. And this is a newer website. They just have a lot of really insightful things here. It talks about even like your role. So this is me. I'm an assertive advocate. I'm a diplomat, and I have confident individualism. And I can say that is very true. So I'm 81% introverted, 77% intuitive, and 81% feeling. So when we get to the judging, you see that now I'm 54%. Like I said, I used to be a very strong judger, like deadlines, and I've just learned to let those things go as I've gotten older. And they add a 5th one for identity. So they call me an INFJ-A because I'm assertive. And I think you have assertive or turbulent. So, like I said, you do have to pay if you want the full assessment, but it'll let you take the test for free, and it's just kind of fun to do. Personality Page is an older site. I use this a lot, so it does look like an older site for sure. This is like, I don't know, 1990s icons or something. But it's a neat one because you can go to your personality once you've taken the test. And it gives you really detailed information. But it also shows you good careers. And it shows you how you relate. So it shows you your strengths in relationships, your weaknesses, friends, parents. And then it talks a lot about personal growth. So this is a really good one to walk through. Oh, this is also a fun one. This can tell you, so for example, I'm an INFJ, and let's say I am going to date an ENFP. Oh, they make you pay for it now. They didn't used to. So that one I have to pay for. So this is the book that I read when I was in my 20s. Please understand me. It is like really in depth. It dives into each of the four base personalities and then goes into the 16 personality types. It's really fabulous. I read it over and over, and it just helped to make sense of myself. It helped me make sense of other people. It was a kind of a life-changing thing for me. So that's the Myers-Briggs. Are there any specific questions you guys would have before we move on? Okay. So next we have the Enneagram. Just a show of hands, who is familiar with the Enneagram or has heard of it? Anyone? Okay, much lesser known test, but a really cool one. So the Enneagram breaks people into 9 different personalities. This is almost always how it's displayed. And in a minute, I'll explain what the star shape looks like. It looks like some sort of, I don't know, witchcraft or something. It's not, it's just the way the circle works. So these are the 9 types within the Enneagram. I happen to be a type 4, which is the individualist, sensitive, withdrawn, I'm not withdrawn, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. Being self-absorbed is one that I actually really work against and try to get outside of myself and just be there for other people. So we have the reformer, which is the type 1. They're rational, idealistic, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and perfectionistic. You have the helper, caring, interpersonal, demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, possessive. You have the achiever, success-oriented, pragmatic type, adaptive, excelling, driven, image-conscious. Then you have me, and probably some of you. Then we have the investigator, who's number 5, intense, cerebral type, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. The loyalist is committed, security-oriented, engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. The 7 is the enthusiastic. They are busy, fun-loving, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. They're fun people to be around. And you have the challenger, who's powerful, dominating, self-confident, decisive, willful, confrontational. They're a little harder to be around. I have a neighbor who is an 8, and I've had to learn that he's not angry at me. He's just being himself. And then we have 9. We have the peacemaker, who's easygoing, self-effacing, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent. Oh, and it looks like Michaela has taken it a couple times. Michaela, what number do you show us? A 4. All right, so let me show you. Well, hold up. We're going to start with this. So there are a couple of unique things about the Enneagram, which I really love. So first of all, they have what are called wings. So you're not just one thing, but you're one with a wing. So for example, I'm a 4 with a 5 wing, and the wings always fall on either side. So if you are a number 6, you could be a 6 with a 5 wing or a 6 with a 7 wing. And it delves a little more deeply into your personality. And what is super cool about the Enneagram is the whole point of it is that it is supposed to be a demonstration of your health or your unhealth in your personality and in your life. And the goal is to move towards growth in your personality. So when you're healthy, they have these 3 levels. You're either at liberation, psychological capacity, or social value. And there's some really good examples of these if you look at one of the other sites that I'm going to show you. And then a lot of people are just average. So there's just a level of imbalance. They're not sure about their social role. There's a certain level of interpersonal control that they have to have, or they have to be overcompensating. And then you get down to unhealthy people who live at the level of violation, obsession and compulsion, and pathological destructiveness. And it's really, it's a really hard thing to do, to examine your life and to look at this and say, where do I fall on this chart? And to say, am I healthy? Am I unhealthy? And if you are an unhealthy person, it is really hard to acknowledge that. But when you do, you learn that there's help. You learn that you can change and that you can grow. So this is the way it works. We move either towards integration or disintegration, also, which we would call health or unhealth. So as a 4, when I am healthy, I look a lot like a 1. And the 1s are, they're the leaders, they're perfectionists, they're driven, they get things done. And so although I still remain a 4, I tend to step into leadership more. When I'm unhealthy, and there have been some times in my life, especially the past year, where there have been just really intense struggles, I end up looking more like a 2. And that is because I'm overcompensating to make myself stronger. And so I start taking care of people, and that's all I focus on. So that way I'm not focusing on myself, because I don't want to see myself. So when I'm unhealthy, I look a lot like a 2. So the goal is to move towards integration as a 1. So as this chart works, for example, if you're a 7, you're the easygoing, happy person. You're going to move towards 5 if you're healthy, which is a little more thoughtful, a little more put together. But if you're unhealthy, they tend to become very domineering. So that is one of the really cool things about the Enneagram, is that it shows this level of growth and change that can take place in your life. And there are a lot of books on the Enneagram. It was really popular for a while. This is the Enneagram Institute. And it is really fantastic information if you are willing to pay $12 for the test. So if you want to take the test, it gives you this crazy, full-on personality description and things, how to change, how to be better. Otherwise, it just gives you just a quick list. That's about it. Truity. You do also have to pay for Truity. You can take the test for free, but then you have to pay for the full. I log in as. You have to, sorry, I got distracted. You have to pay for the full personality report. And I think I have an account with them. Maybe. No. I don't. Okay. But it'll give you a nice brief overview of your types. So here's some keys for the 4. Talks about how rare they are. It talks about them in depth. Here are the wings, core values, and how to recognize them. Here are when you're healthy. So when I'm healthy, I create thought-provoking, groundbreaking works of art. I don't know that that's true. I'm recognized as an idea synthesizer who can help others rethink what art should be. So I work as a project manager a lot in my job, and that is true. I synthesize ideas, and my job is to help people find a better way to do things. But when I'm unhealthy, I become moody, fragile, an extreme tendency to ruminate, which is just to think on past stuff. It's become very self-destructive in their thinking. And then they've got some really great growth tips. So take a look at this site, look up your type. And then this one is just a free test. It's not a great test, but it's free. Okay, any questions about that one before we move on? Anyone think just looking at, let's see, one more, this list, do any of these look like they're probably you? Twos are wonderful people. They just are very interpersonal, take care of people. Both my sister and my mom are 2s. They're definitely the caregiver. Jamie's a 7. Just fun to be around. So I am a 4 wing 5. Because not only am I an individualist, but I am also a strong 5. I am a self-professed knowledge whore. I love any knowledge I can get my hands on. I read everything I can find. If I hear something, I have to immediately order a new book. Just finished a book on salt. It's the history of salt throughout the history of the world. It's fascinating. Did you know that kingdoms basically rose and fell due to salt and their ability to control salt? I mean, it's just fabulous. It doesn't have to do with anything except that, man, I love, oh, Taylor, you've read it. Fantastic book, right? So anyway, knowledge and individualist. So let's go ahead. And Taylor, you have a food section in your personal library. So can I guess, do you think you're a 5? And if you want to unmute yourself, you can.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. As with everything, I'm like, oh, a little there, a little there, a little there. So we'll see. I don't know. I know that book is great.
It is great. I was just, so good. But I do this with everything. Amazon is way too easy to use, and like next day shipping. And it's true. I often don't finish my books. I get about halfway through the book, and then I'm like, oh, new thing. So I have a lot of half-finished books. in my house because then I just lose interest. Anyway, we will move on to the Harvard VARC test. And the VARC test was developed by some folks at Harvard, and it is designed to teach you your learning style. So I feel like it's an important test to take just because you can see how you learn best. And that way you can, when you're in the process of learning something new, you can make sure that you gravitate towards that particular style. So there are 4 styles. You have visual, and those are people who do best watching, say, videos. They do best watching someone do something. Then you have the oral people, and those are people who do best when they're hearing, but they're also the people who need to bounce ideas off someone else and need to discuss whatever it is they're learning. And I am that person. When I took the test, I would have said that I was probably reading and writing, and I still am strong with reading and writing, but I really do best in learning when I have someone just to go back forthwith and just hash it out. And then you have the reading, writing people, and those are your standard note takers. They read to learn something. And then you have kinesthetic people who really do best if they can get their hands on it and learn it themselves. Now, most people are a combination of 2 or sometimes 3, although some people are very strongly dominant in one thing. So these are the VARC learning preferences. So for example, you have people who are a very mild visual, very strong visual, mild audio. And as you go through, we see that people who are mildly kinesthetic make up a big part of the population. And people who are audio and kinesthetic also make up a large part of the population. The VARC type 2 are people who are 3 or 4 types all at once. So a lot of people can learn many different ways. So I am a reading, writing, audio, where you are. Here, this is me right here. So I'm an audio reading person. Not many people learn that way. Oops. But I do. So the point of this is to, first of all, understand how you learn so that you can get information more accurately and remember it better. But it's also that you can understand how other people learn so that when you're, I don't know if you're going to end up teaching or just in any situation, like if you have kids, to understand how they best learn is really important. So the Harvard VARC test is totally free, and it's actually really fast, really simple. And then they have just lots of information on VARC and how to use it, different questionnaires, different strategies. So for me, an oral strategy is to talk things over, explain things by talking, put the case for and against, have debates, discussions, inserting winning comments. So that is totally me, totally. So you can take a look through all of those. So a couple tools to help you on this journey to know yourself. There's this free tool. It's a reflection journal. Where can I log in? Sorry, should let me log in here somewhere. There it is. Okay. So it's basically an electronic journal, but it has a couple really cool features. One of the things that I really liked about it is that it has a series of prompts that you can go through. So it's a guide on what to write about, what to think about, what to reflect on. And it helps you kind of work through your situation, make sense of things. Oh, I have to. There we go. So if we go to the guides, this one talks us to think back on what happened, check within the 6 areas of wellness. So that's all there. So that's totally free, and it's a really neat tool to use. The other is this, it's a course, it's $15, and it's called A Year of Writing to Uncover the Authentic Self. And I'm doing this, and it is really, really neat. So they give you a set of questions every week. So there's 52 lessons, one a week. And the whole goal is to help you uncover the truth of your experiences and your memories. And so it's for people who don't quite know where to start, people who want to write their life story, people who love short stories, looking for a creative or emotional outlet. But it is a really superb tool. Oh, Nikki, yeah. So you are the same, almost the same as me. But the discussion questioning, man, that's a big one. It was a big one for me to learn about myself. So think about some of these things. Yes, and I can drop these in the chat. So this is done by an organization called the Daily Own. They have actually a lot of really neat courses, and they let you often pay just what you can pay. Dropping this in the chat just a second. What is that under? Just called reflection. Yep. Okay. And so, like I said, Stacy will also be sending out this presentation, and all you have to do is the links are embedded in all of these. So the whole point of these things is not just to take like fun tests, cool to know about yourself, but it is in the hope that you will learn about who you are, and that you will be able to grow because of it, and that you will not only be able to grow in yourself, but that you can grow in your relationships, grow in your career. So there's a couple points I've got. The first is learn to be quiet for a certain time each day. Some people do meditation, some people write in their journal, but you cannot and will not know yourself unless you take the time to be still. Second, realize who you truly are and not who you want to be. And that's a hard one. That is a really hard thing to look at yourself and say, this is who I am. And yes, maybe I want to be this other person. I can strive for that, but this is who I am here and now. And how do I work with that? Find what you're good at. Be honest with what you're not good at. Really recognize your weakness, because once you do that, it becomes so easy to find people who can help build you in that weakness, because there are people who have those strengths where you're weak. And so you could really, teamwork really comes in here. Find out what you're passionate about. I feel like a lot of people go through life and never really discover what they love. And it can be something totally simple like cooking, or it could be something like running for office. Ask for feedback. Friends give the best brutal feedback you'll ever get. And I've had some situations in my life where that brutal feedback led to really wonderful growth and change in my life. And also assess your relationships. Make sure you've got people around you who are invested in your growth, who are invested in the relationship as well, and who can really help you become the best person that you can be. So that is the end of my slides. Does anybody have any questions or comments? You're welcome to unmute yourself or drop in the chat.
I'm sorry, how much was the Myers-Briggs again?
Myers-Briggs you can take free anywhere, but if you go through the actual Myers-Briggs, like through 16 personalities, I want to say it's how much. Let's see how much it is. So the premium profile, come on guys, just give me the price. Where is it? There. So you can do just the specialized test for $20, or you can get into all of these where they have a 242 page profile on your personality. So I would just start with the $20 one. But at the same time, if you're willing to just kind of look around the internet, a lot of this information you can get for free.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. I'm putting also, there's your game code in the chat. And if anybody doesn't have anything else. Yeah, so Stacy will send it out. She's going to post it on the website. And then always feel free to reach out to me. I am around. If you ever want someone to talk through this stuff with you. So I'll turn it back over to our moderator. I just want to wish you guys the best of luck in your journey and in your educational journey as well as you move forward.